Hello, welcome to Point Counterpoint 46360 show. The opinions expressed by the show's hosts, myself, Dwayne Perry, and Anthony Tony Hendricks, will many times conflict. Thus the title, Point Counterpoint. Point Counterpoint is a weekly issue show for our area. Point Counterpoint always lets you judge for yourself. We live in an information free-for-all. It's hard to see through all the misinformation and get to the accurate facts, what's right and best for our community. We will not libel, discriminate, or disrespect anyone or their views. We believe in the constitutional First Amendment, right of free speech, and we support anyone who voices their opinion as part of their duty to their community. This program brings you just that, an unedited, honest, candid conversation of the issues. The producers of Point Counterpoint are solely responsible for the content of the show. But because the show is not rehearsed, we take no responsibility for the opinions and statements made by our guests or for the information they gather from public sources. We will adhere to all applicable federal, state, and local regulations regarding limits of public speech and program content. The intent of the show is to thoroughly research current issues that affect our community, present the facts surrounding the issues, discuss the pros and cons, then present to our viewing audience what we together or individually feel is the best solution for both the community and the public. Point Counterpoint 46360 show is a property of its producers, Dwayne Perry and Anthony Tony Hendricks, and may not be rebroadcasted without the written permission of its producers. The producers take no responsibility for the opinions of others in the posting of comments in chat rooms, blogs, video logs, forum posts, or other media. We welcome and encourage ideas and suggestions for the show. We can be reached at 46360show@excite.com. Our shows will air on Comcast Cable Access and will be rebroadcast by us on YouTube under the label Point Counterpoint 46360 show. Again, welcome to Point Counterpoint 46360 show, brought to you by Dwayne Perry and Anthony Tony Hendricks. We hope you enjoy the topics, the discussion, and the show. Well, let's get started. Tony, what do we have on our agenda for today?
Ready to go. For everyone out there at the booth at the zoo, so maybe the camera would be a little strange because we don't have our normal camera guy. And we wanted to come up, we usually do 5 shows and then we go to a 5-week hiatus and run the shows again, but we felt that we spent one show on stormwater 5 weeks ago, so we'd like to do one more show because there's just too many issues that came up this week. So for the front end, we are going to go on our 5-week rerun, which is going to be 6 weeks.
Yep.
A 6-week rerun, so this will be our last show of this 6 weeks. And we will run that out, and I do have, other than last week, I have every show on YouTube. Caught up. We are caught up. So the issues today. Our neighborhood identification series, again, we are going to go, and this was your choice, good choice, NAP, the NAP school neighborhood. Our second topic is going to be the scuttlebutt of the planned automobile plant in Rolling Prairie, New Carlisle.
You bet.
Ooh, it's a big
exciting
one. Big one. Traffic signs in Michigan City. We hit on that a little bit last week, and we didn't have time to go over them, but boy, we did.
We're going to go over them today.
Did some research. I did a little bit, you did a lot more. The city's intention to widen Ohio Street, Highway 20 to County 400 North.
Why? What's the benefit?
A real stormwater plan for Michigan City, and then we're going to do a recap of the last 5 shows, including this, so you'll be ready for 6 weeks. So,
yep.
NAP school.
Well, you know, Tony, before we get in, maybe it's meant to be, because as you pointed out to me, when we decided to come back on the network today, that last week, when we closed, I didn't say we'll see you in 5 weeks. I said we'll see you next week.
You said see you next week. Here we are.
Maybe we're following a pattern.
Don't jinx it.
It's meant to be. Okay.
Yeah, here we go.
All right. NAP school, or NAP.
NAP.
Centered around NAP school. Tony and I looked at it. We figured that the boundaries of that neighborhood would be basically the CSX railroad tracks that run just south of Ames Field and carry on out of town. South it would be Shebo Pond. East it would be Ohio Street. And west it would be Hitchcock Road, which is last week we had a little bit of difficulty when we talked about the boundaries of what did we talk, neighborhood we talked about last week?
We were
Krieger.
Krieger.
We had a hard time, little harder
was
time
tough.
defining those, but this is pretty, we feel pretty
It's
straightforward.
kind of like the sister neighborhood to Village Green.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of rails went through that area during its day. It was city limits for a long time.
Yeah, that was
undeveloped.
That was the end of town, right? The tracks for
Yep.
a long, long time.
And west of Ohio Street, there was not very much until it sprung up around Knapp School as the city was growing. In the 1960s, in 1966, Michigan City was 44,000 people.
Now, I don't remember what it was, but the grades came out for schools, and Knapp was up there. Knapp was a very good school. I think Knapp had a hard time. I think maybe they were a C a year or two ago, and now maybe they're a B or an A. Maybe they're A. I don't remember, but they're doing really well. Knapp's a very good school. Oh, usually was a good school, right?
Knapp's a progressive neighborhood. The people keep their homes up. It's a lot of young families. It's a good area. It's a good neighborhood to look to buy in.
Yeah,
I think.
When we talked about it, I didn't realize we got the barbershop on Ohio.
Yeah.
Been there a long time. We have the veterans. Well, we got two of them. Two kind of veterans. We got DAV,
Yeah.
the Danny Bruce chapter,
And VFW.
and the VFW right there in this area. Oh, I didn't
It
realize
used to
that.
have its own neighborhood supermarket right there at the corner of Earl Road and Ohio Street. Back in the 60s, we didn't have all the chains in town. We had Al's and we had Jim's Fiesta Village.
Yeah.
It was a Jim's Fiesta Village. Jim Adjemi and Al Pontius owned them. And they were full-service grocery stores. And they catered, if you looked at where they catered to developing neighborhoods.
Yeah, and I went there a lot of times. And when the washing machine broke, we went next door to the laundromat.
Yeah,
I mean, that was a small, compact grocery store, but boy, it was a real good local neighborhood store. Then you have Knapp School. You have a lot of homes. The big thing of that neighborhood, I guess, would be the Strebel Pond.
Yep.
The Strebel Pond was dug, and if I remember correctly, it was $20 million or something like that. I remember Dave Beeler was asked to talk to me about that a week ago, and well, he works at Purdue Northwest, the councilman of the time.
Yeah, Dave Beeler was on the council.
For that Knapp neighborhood. Can't remember the guy. Gray hair, older guy.
Who?
He's a councilman. Oh, you might not remember. Well, he was really
Before my time.
before Pat Boy. He was a real go-getter. Really, man. Oh, he was fantastic. He was so good. Can't believe, but you know, they had that whole discussion in the council. He was a councilman at the time. Janitek? No, not Jan. That Janitek. That's a different name. Janovic, something like that.
Oh,
So he was really involved in the whole Strebel Pond because it was $20+ million. And I remember there was discussion that for the number of homes, you could have just paid their flood insurance instead of sinking $20-some million into a pond. And it would have been far, far cheaper. But we have Strebel Pond, and that has helped a certain number of those individuals get out of the flood zone and have to pay $200, $300, $400, $500 a month. That worked well. We've had that discussion before on both shows about should Strebel Pond been put where it is, and we'll have that discussion later today. What else is in Knapp? It's got a really good park. The school around the park's great. Got basketball courts, always well used.
nicely laid out.
Yeah, it's
I remember playing ball there when I was younger, and when my kids were first coming up, you could go over there and pick up a scratch game, whether it was baseball, basketball, football season. There'd always be something going on at Knapp Playground.
Yeah, Knapp. Lots of people went to Knapp. I remember lots of quick pickup basketball games there.
Yeah.
Lots going on at Knapp. Knapp, really going strong, holding strong. Good neighborhood. So
It's a neighborhood Michigan City can be proud of.
It is, and it'd be nice if Knapp again. It would have a cohesive map, just like Village Green says, you know, Knapp neighborhood, right there at the tracks at CSX on Ohio and Earl and Hitchcock.
Have one at Harrison.
And have a sign, Knapp neighborhood. You are entering the Knapp neighborhood. That's what all this is about. So, anything else? What if you are a councilman? What does Knapp need? I mean, other than in my mind, the only thing Knapp needs is some signs and a group meeting and maybe a little update to their park and help the school give them some upgraded playground equipment.
Yeah, you don't hear a lot of issues coming up in the nap
Those
area.
are quiet, good working, hard working
Yep.
people that just go about their life and they don't really ask for much. Nap's a neat little neighborhood. So we didn't want to spend much time. We picked Nap. Keep it short and sweet. And since we're on Nap, and I was talking about Nap, let's just move. Let's jumble this up a bit. I want to go to traffic signs in Michigan City.
Oh boy.
We stopped and talked about that, but when we talked about Nap, I drove around Nap. I drove around all the schools.
Yeah.
It's been, we talked about this again, we didn't want to bring it up, but it's been months now, and still, we don't see a concerted effort, which should be strictly a street department maintenance issue, to mark these crossings where kids are. It's going to get dark now. We need to do this. And I drove around Nap. So Nap, about 60% of the intersections were striped with a sign, kids or school area.
Yeah.
Right around there. But really nothing else outside of there. Once you got a block away, there was nothing.
We have no concerted effort.
And I don't think there's
And
anything in Ohio.
We haven't had any in Michigan City as far back as I can remember to really protect the young kids from traffic. Tony and we got involved in a little something after work the other day, and we were on Barker Ave at about 4:45.
Yep.
The beginning of the evening rush hour.
Glad you
Even
brought that
Michigan
up.
City has an evening rush
Glad
hour.
you brought that up.
And there was a young dad trying to cross Barker Ave with his little boy.
Yep.
And he waited probably 4 or 5 minutes for traffic to subside. And they were just buzzing by. We looked at that and we thought, boy, we're glad we're going to talk about
Well, they
that
were
this weekend.
crossing at Cleveland and the little entrance there to the Greenwood Cemetery.
Yep.
The little right. They were crossing right there. There's even a little opening in the gate right across.
Yep.
And we looked at it and we were out there watching it.
No markings on the pavement whatsoever.
No markings.
No signs.
No sign, no marking, nothing. And I
We
think
said, we're going to talk about this. This is big.
He was walking his little boy to Greenwood to go walking around in Greenwood to exercise.
Yeah, so it's not just the school areas. It's Michigan City and a change of focus. And I'm going to jump on this because I believe this is really the issue. You go down to the downtown area, now called the Uptown Arts District. You go up or down Pine Street, Washington, or Wabash, and you can't travel over 2 blocks without getting stopped by a stop sign. Several of the intersections have brand new solar-powered stop signs.
LED.
LEDs, solar-powered
Low power.
stop signs, which I would have never thought about it before, other than the nuisance they present. You can't maintain any traffic flow going that way. But then I learned that they're $1,600 a piece.
Yeah.
And several intersections have 2 of them.
Wait a minute. You got to go back. I think you skipped over that a little quick. We did some research, and we were both looking at it. How much does it cost for one stop sign with the LED lights and the solar panel? I think you have to be very clear to the audience here.
Well,
$1,600.
and
We were blown away.
And that is material cost alone.
Yeah, not
you buy the
inflation.
unit sign, and then you incur the labor cost for the city street department to install them.
Or the
Now, the city street
contractor.
department or the contractor, Michigan City contracts out a lot. And it's just unnecessary. The city street department is very capable of assembling signs, putting the sign on the post. They do it all the time. They've done it for a long time. So I got into this.
Wait, let's go back again.
Okay,
'Cause we talked
I'm
about
going
this.
too fast again.
We're going too fast. We talked about this. We had this discussion. And it's easy. Again, the internet. You can go there and find this out. That's what we did. We asked each other, how much do you think those signs cost? We see them up and down Washington and Pine. I thought $300-400. What do you think? $400 or $500?
Yeah, I thought they would be more. Here's the kind of
$1,600.
$1,600 for one sign.
$1,600.
So we're putting a minimum of $3,000 in an intersection. If the city decides to put them on all 4 corners, now you're $6,000 in an intersection.
Now wait, we're not bringing this up because we are because they're expensive, but
It's priorities.
we can we afford, because here we are saying we should do these protect the kids in these crossing zones and school areas. And we think, well, how much is that going to cost? We did the research. We thought, okay, well, if we're going to mouth off about this, how much does it cost? How much are we asking the council to spend? And that's where we found out $1,600. Then, okay, now give them the next move.
Okay,
We know that's too much money. We can't afford it.
No. So we're gonna take this into our own hands. Okay, here's about the minimum. I blew this up to 11 by 17 so you could see it, that we think, Tony and I agree, not point counterpoint, we don't disagree, that we need something to catch the eye. A flashing beacon type light, flashing yellow, flashing red if you want them to stop, with a message of what they need to be aware of.
Pedestrians.
Pedestrian crossing, children playing in the area.
School.
Deaf child lives in the area, school crossing. Okay, 3 components. Flashing, light, sign, post. Okay, I got on the internet. I couldn't superimpose a post. I don't have the computer skills that my buddy has there. But here's what I found. Your flashing light, about $30 a piece. And a web source, Alibaba.com.
Well, Amazon had it too.
Oh yeah, no. A lot of places. I just wrote down where I found it to justify the price.
Yeah.
So that people say, oh, $30, he made that up. No, it's right there on the internet at that address, Alibaba.com. But there's many companies that provide these. A sign, roadtrafficsigns.com, $25. 15 mile per hour speed limit, watch for children. And then in areas, now we've had 2 kids hit now. We've had 2 young kids hit in the last couple months.
Let's be clear why we're bringing this up.
That's why.
The days have gone past where we could ignore this. One kid
one
has
was
been
a
killed,
fatality.
and 1 kid has been hurt, and we cannot have a third.
You can't ignore
Can't
this.
happen.
This is a problem that needs to be addressed. We need to protect the youth, the future of the community.
So we think, like your ex-council member, how much does this cost? Can we find the money? Now, we don't want to say $1,600 is not worth a kid, but we can do this. We have enough money.
And then the third sign, which really hits the nail right on the head, and this is a custom-made sign. You can design, have it say anything that you want. This one was the boilerplate sign, fines higher. You could say $500 fine. You could say 60 days in jail. Well, no, you can't say that because the judge has got to say that. But we could by ordinance, we could establish a monetary fine.
Well, there is a state law. I was looking. Do you have it? There's a state law that says you must stop for pedestrians in a crossing in the state of Indiana.
I don't know if it spells out the fine. I would have to take a look at that. But
we have a state law.
In the communities have the power to exceed state requirements.
Home rule.
They cannot legislate less than state requirements. Right. They have the power to, if the state wants $100, simple, a $25 for a fine for not wearing your seatbelt, Michigan City could have a $100 fine. We can do that. We can't say there's no fine or it's a $10 fine. So we can control our own destiny. Okay, so right there.
How much you got in there?
You got 30 for the flashing light, 25 for the top sign, 90. For some reason, this bottom sign was a little bit pricey. So you got $145 there. And if we start from scratch and we buy a real nice pole that has a breakaway so that if somebody hits it, the top breaks off, it doesn't go through the windshield of the car, and it's easily replaced, another $80.
Yeah.
So you got $225 versus $1,600.
That our street department could procure and put together.
And put together very quickly. And then our kids are protected. And this is just a typical that I found on the internet. There's what a typical street intersection should look like. Pavement markings around a school, well, everywhere. Everywhere. Pavement markings and a sign on each side that a motorist cannot avoid seeing. They can be distracted if there's just a signer, but a flashing light, no. They see that. And they will not escape a violation if they don't see it.
So we went from $1,600 in our research to
$225.
$200.
Material alone versus $1,600.
Installation's still there.
Material alone.
Apples to apples.
Okay.
We still have to install them.
16 divided by 2 is almost, it's 7 signs. We can make 7 crossings safe for what we're doing at one crossing in the downtown area, which is primarily adults.
So that's why we want to bring this, because, again, go to the internet. If somebody says we're wrong and the $1,600 is, we didn't review the cost for Pine or Washington. I never saw those. Was there a breakdown of how much these signs cost? We found them on the internet.
No, it was a package.
It was a package deal.
It came with a sign
$1,600.
attached to the solar panel.
And a battery, probably.
And a battery.
Now, I don't know if we put the battery in on this. So maybe we're talking another 20 bucks for a battery. And I'm sure they're not going to give us a battery with the kit. What brought this up is I saw $1,600, and sure enough, I go to Amazon, type it in. How much does it cost for a LED rope and a solar panel? How much does that package cost? And we were blown away. It was $30. Doesn't include the battery, but the package. So we could take our school sign and rope it with LEDs and put the solar panel on there and connect them together with the battery of our own box. That package was $30. $30. I didn't know what signs cost.
And I know many of the men and women that work in Michigan City Street Department. They are a competent, capable group that would put these signs together, and they'd be up before you knew it.
Well, isn't this kind of a win for everybody?
Oh, absolutely.
If the city and the council get together and say, we're going to set $50,000 aside, and we're going to, because we bought some of the thermoplastic striping, we use it in County Bear's office. You can buy it. You can buy that on Amazon. I'm sure you can buy it cheaper when you get into traffic devices. But if the city got behind this and the street department had the word to go out and do this for a month or 2 weeks, whatever it took, set your forces out there, then we could probably do an article in the News Dispatch saying we have now taken action.
Absolutely.
Another kid is going to be safer. One kid could be safer because we did all of this cheaply with our own labor, and we could line up a photograph of the street department people and the city council, the administration says, we understood how important this was, we got it done. And I understand right now we have a consultant working on it. So
If we save one injury, which we would save many, by putting these signs up, as Tony said, it's a win-win. Because injuries can be disabling, and they don't have to be physically disabling. It's I'm sure it's extremely traumatic to a child when they get hit by a car. They never ever forget that, the shock. So we need to realign our priorities.
And this goes a long way for out-of-towners coming into our town, either looking for jobs or coming to town. They see, we really are protecting our children. We are and our pedestrians.
Absolutely.
We are really out in front, making sure it's a pedestrian-safe town. It would just scream to anyone driving through town. We are pedestrian-safe. A safe town is a good town.
Once we had our eyes open to this and we looked around and saw how inadequately the kids and the pedestrians are protected crossing streets in Michigan City, we had to do this. This is a must. And we'll keep talking about it until action's taken.
And I'm not sure the viewers are familiar. You could stripe roads with paint. It doesn't last very long, and it's cheap. Or you can stripe roads with thermoplastic. And we all know when you drive down the roads and you hear those bells bump bump going over crossings, that's thermoplastic striping. And if that gives you a cognitive alert signal that you are in a pedestrian area, you hear that bump on your tires, you understand there's a pedestrian crossing there, and you do this every day, like, oh, well, there's a pedestrian crossing. We get a response that we just drove over some pedestrian crossings. And thermoplastic lasts far, I don't know, 10 times longer. I professionally
that'd be
can't
incredibly
say.
cheap, Tony. 200 feet before the crossing was a thermal tape.
Well, that's what you have right there. That picture.
They go bump, bump, and a sign, entering school zone.
Your picture right there shows a place the cars are supposed to stop, like a adjunct stop bar.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. I mean, I can't believe you found that picture. That paints it. We don't need to pay a consultant to do that, because that's all they're going to do is pull up that picture. That's probably their picture they sold it to 50 other communities already. They're just billing us. And we have capable people. We could do an article on it. Everyone could be out in front here and say, we are here to protect our kids. Look what we did. It should take us, I don't know, a month. Set our crews on it. Get it done. Make it happen.
They could knock them out so quick.
We
don't have that many schools that it's a major job. And it's not the school system's responsibility, it's the city's responsibility.
There's our streets. There's city streets.
There are streets.
I don't believe the school isn't clamoring. We need some crossings.
Well, it's their job to educate the kids. It's our job to keep the kids safe.
Right. So we brought up traffic signs. That's why I moved it forward. And that brings up to the great topic that everyone's been talking about, the planned automobile plant in Rolling Prairie. So,
when this guy found out about this, it was like looking at somebody sitting in front of a T-bone steak. Tony got his teeth into this one. Go ahead.
There have been rumors upon rumors upon rumors for about, in my world, about a year and a half. Quiet discussion. And there's lots of things I can't bring on the show until today. Because it is public information. Again, this is what we've taken off the internet. I have no insider information. I have no confidential information. This is the stuff I took off. Now, I am an elected official in the county. Lots of things go in the courthouse like they always do. But this is internet published articles.
Well, like Tony said, it's been out for a long time. Over a year ago, I bumped into two guys at Galveston that were sitting right next to me, overheard them talking. They were from an national engineering firm mobilizing a project right next to the two mini mills in near New Carlisle, Rolling Prairie, IN Tech and IN Coat, that they don't make it, they treat the steel coils that are used by the automobile industry. One of them galvanizes the coils for rust protection, and the other one anneals the steel to make it more workable, softer, take the brittleness out of it.
This might have been more than a year and a half ago, because I was on...
And they're talking about a plant they're going to build there.
I was on a site at the elevator plant over New Carlisle, the railroad siding where the rail has a spur. And I was under the impression that I was there because Toyota was buying this. And we were thinking, well, Toyota's going to, Japan or China is going to, and they have been doing it, Russia too, is buying these places, the 421, and they're buying these railroad sidings and these elevator plants because they own lots of ground, and they own ground, and they plant corn and beans, they ship it overseas. That was a no-brainer. Then me and Dwayne, I'd bleed oil because I like cars so much. Toyota, the president of Toyota came out and says he's way behind the 8 ball here in the electric vehicles, and they are going to do everything they can to ramp this up and step it up because electric cars are the future, or hybrids, and we're woefully behind. Well, I read that in a thing. So then I started paying attention. Toyota is a major partner so then we had a member of our board, in the drainage board, who bought the ground after the failure of the electric power plant in New Carlisle. There was going to be a gas-powered power plant. It didn't go, and then he bought the ground. Then it actually went, and he made a whole bunch of money. So now they have a gas-generated electric power plant. They're constructing that right now in New Carlisle. Well, that was kind of interesting. And then we see the articles about they're fighting over sewer and water, and who's going to get that extension? Either St. Joe County or New Carlisle. Well, St. Joe County got it. They put the money in. They're running sewer and water everywhere out there. It's like an old lake bed. You see that on 2 and 20 in that area. We know the IN Tech, that whole area. Then we hear rumors that supposedly Toyota's got their potential buy on 300 acres of ground. That's very curious. We didn't want to bring on the show. Lots of rumors circulating. So then I thought I read 4 or 6. You're saying I read 8 or 10 news channels every day. And I come across an article, real interesting, from autoblog.com that says there was 3 or 4 states quietly bidding for a Toyota Mazda plant. And they just booted Illinois out because Illinois is not right to work. So they took them out of contention. That was October 19th, that there was 3 or 4 finalists on autoblog.com. So this is not hearsay. These are published articles that are on the internet. They're saying that Illinois is going to have to relook at its labor market and what they want to do because they lost Apple Foxconn to Wisconsin.
Wow. And
now they lost Toyota Mazda. I always thought, and I've been reading a lot, that Toyota, I put 2 and 2 together, Toyota is going to build an electric car plant. And I thought, well, Mazda is behind the 8 ball too. So I thought, well, Mazda's going to jump in here too. There was an article right here, Japanese Electro Vehicle Alliance. This was, again, on autoblog.com. Toyota and Mazda team up with Toyota's supplier Denso to found a joint venture called EV Common Architecture Spirit. The new company will be held mainly by Toyota, 90% shares, and its purpose is to boost the development of various types of electric vehicles from compact cars to light trucks. This was on Reuters.com on the European side and Autonews.com. So again, I'm not bringing up hearsay. These are published articles. I have no confidential information. I'm just like everyone else. I'm seeing articles. I'm digging a little deeper. So then, August 4th, 2017. Didn't you know they put an article out? Reuters. It was on autoblog.com. Toyota and Mazda plan to build a 1.6 billion U.S. assembly plant. They said on Friday, August 4th. The two will take small stakes in each other as a part of the tie-up. Toyota, the world's largest automaker by vehicles to sales last year, will take 5% share and a 5% share of Mazda. And Mazda will take a 0.25% share of Toyota. The plant, something of a surprise at the time of overcapacity in the U.S. market, will be a boost to U.S. President Donald Trump, who campaigned on promise to increase manufacturing and expand employment for American workers. This is a very neat article. The plant will be capable of producing 300,000 vehicles per year, with production divided between the two automakers, and employ about 4,000 people. It will start operating in 2021. This is an August 4th article. This is what all the hearsay we've been running around. Now, the other article said there's 3-4 players. We know Illinois is out. Are we one of 3 players, or are we one of 2 players? We know Toyota owns part stake in that power generation plant. Well, if you put 2 and 2 together, doesn't take long to figure out we're on the hotbed of a huge announcement.
now, did you say, Tony, 4,000 employees?
4,000 people operating in 2021.
All right, now I'm going to interject something here. Tony and I don't have a horse in this race.
No.
Government does. This shouldn't be coming from us. We should have heard this already from Michigan City's government, LaPorte's government. We should have heard it that Rolling Prairie's taken action, New Carlisle, because everybody should be looking to try to get a piece of the pie. There will be a couple Michigan City people working there, but there'll be as many people from LaPorte. Maybe more, because LaPorte is experiencing much more residential development than Michigan City is. That's the piece of the pie I'm talking about. Michigan City should be looking at new housing developments. These people need a place to live.
Well, you bring up a fantastic point, and I didn't think I love it when you bring this up. Till just now. We have been very reserved, if I can say it quite nicely, about the South Shore double track. But on the political front, there has been a massive, never seen before partnership. Everyone get behind it. Let's all on the same page. We are going to show them how important this is so we can get the $1 billion to build it. We have to be together as one team. Where's that here? This is not a public entity asking for $1 billion. This is a private company willing to spend $1.6 billion and 4,000 jobs. And I don't see a concerted team effort from Trump's pushing. Do I see Vice President Pence out here? Do I see our senators out here? Do I see South Shore, this is why we're building the South Shore double track out here? And I'm sorry I'm getting a little crazy here, but $1.6 billion of private financing and 4,000 very good jobs with benefits.
Well,
and not a peep from some sort of governors, senators, state representatives, vice president, come to Indiana. We will do whatever it takes. Tax breaks. Why the secrecy? Why? Okay, let's
Tony,
go on.
I don't know. This is a little bit of a double-edged sword here. I'm happy about this. This is a good thing. But you mentioned the double tracks. Nick D and the South Shore might make a lot of money by this.
At our cost.
But at our cost. Because it's going to be, as I said, for the 4 years I was on the council, it's going to be freight. It's going to be freight moving in and out of that area, that boom area, moving in and out through Michigan City. We're not going to see more commuter trains carrying more people to Chicago because there aren't any more people to carry. It's like when they run the spur down to the Lowell Dyer area, those people that are going to be catching a train down there, they're not new riders. They're riders that currently drive all the way up to the Indianapolis Boulevard station to catch that train.
They might be new riders now. They're going to come over to this Toyota plant working over here.
Well, that'd be an awful long ride, but maybe.
I mean, we're going to have to extend our little show.
But the one thing that that I'm convinced of is we're going to see, this is going to be part of the enormous freight increase that I've said is coming.
And
it's going to be.
I heard Friday or Thursday there was a problem with the CSX tracks, and they had all the intersections shut down during the day, and they blocked all our roads off on Michigan City for a few hours.
Yeah.
Well, we can imagine that on 11th. But anyway, we got to go through this real
we
quick.
do, because
Toyota is also courting compact car Suzuki to cooperate now. So now we got Toyota, Mazda, and Suzuki. There's also discussion about they might shift the Corolla production, not just electric cars. They'll shift Corolla production from Mexico and a new Mazda SUV to this new plant. I mean, this is huge. It's just huge.
This could blossom into something so much bigger than we see right now.
And what we wanted to bring is, this is 2021. This is $1.6 billion, 2021. That's just a little over 3 years now that this factory will be open and employing 4,000, let alone the construction jobs to build this place.
And the communities around this plant need to be moving in a direction of supporting this plant with housing, with services, with education.
If our leaders don't know about this, they need to know about this, and they need to get behind this 100% to put the bid in. All
Yes.
I've been hearing about is the Amazon headquarters. Forget the Amazon headquarters. We want Toyota.
Yep.
Come on down.
Well, we're running out of time, Tony. We probably
Okay,
ought to
so
move
there's our big scoop. Toyota Mazda, $1.6 billion plant, 2021, 4,000 jobs per autoblog.com. We got to move on.
Okay.
City intention to widen Ohio Street. Well, let's parlay that a little bit in the real stormwater plan for Michigan City.
Okay.
Let's move on a little bit about that.
This is going to be interesting.
Here's the map. I don't know if this is stood up here. Here's the map we had from the Cheney Run flood zone. Online we got it. Oh, you got it from DNR.
Yeah, I can probably hold it, Tony. Go ahead.
And you can see the green area is where the water from Lafayette Barker goes in. The orange is a separate watershed from the green. You can see we're piping water through the green to the orange to Cheney Run. This
Cross
Cheney
the
Run.
high point.
Cross the high point. That was a 15-foot high point. Through a 15-foot hill. And we take all this water. Here is 20. We take all this water and we push it through Cheney Run 2. Can we hold this up?
This is going to be a little bit tougher, but there we go. I got
The
it.
blue area is what on my first run at the water that fall rains, and that's right now going into the pipes we just showed you at Cheney Run. Here is potentially a Lafayette Barker sewer. The water line goes like this right now. Stormwater goes to Cheney Run. This is potentially, and I'm not I'm not in on this. I have no dog in this fight. This is where the water, we're going to try to take it from going to Cheney Run and put it over here. This is the area that water flows into this Cheney Run. Generally. I have spent weeks and months on this. This line is what we are discussing, to let the water come through here, past Danes Field, down there by the railroad tracks, and out to the Strebel Arm. This blue is the pond we would hold all that water in. So we'd like to take, and we don't have contracts, and we haven't taken the time, how many crossings with sanitary sewer lines, water lines, utilities, what's there. This is what we are just starting to look at. So that's what we were.
I can't help but grin, Tony, because you use a saying that I've heard. This dog here has got some fleas. We need to be careful
That's
about that.
That's a 15-foot hill too. That's Elston. That's a 15-foot hill. That's the $8 million we spent for a tunnel. Right there. Good point. $8 million. Everyone said $8 million spent for that tunnel. You can do some quick cost estimates, the means, and go online. This is like, 6,500 feet.
Yeah, a couple million.
So we could have probably, for the $8 million, we could have done this too. Now what I want to show is that, this is not, all this water doesn't just fall into this pipe right away. There's a lot of professional calculations. It takes a while for water to get into the system. It's like traffic. All the little side roads come on, and they get to the interstate, and the interstate gets clogged up. It takes a little while to clog the interstate up, but all the cars get on the road. Just like we see it in the summer, the end of the weekend.
Those of you who've never seen anything like this is what's referred to as a watershed. Every drop of water hits the ground, got to go someplace.
Yeah, this
follows the contour of the ground.
This water, I'm saying, can go into this system and out to the west, and we could store it right here.
Don't believe Dave Bila. Water doesn't flow uphill unless you pump it uphill.
Well, we push it.
Yeah, we push
go
it.
Against the hill. We went out here. That's where we were watching the father and the son across the street. We went out here in Cleveland, and we went up here. What road is that? Jackson?
Yeah, Jackson.
Jackson.
We started at Porter.
Just south of Porter. We just start there. How deep was that pipe?
I think it was 35 feet.
35 feet deep. We got a pipe 35 feet deep. To drain this area, this pipe had to be 35 feet deep. 35 feet deep. It's insane.
At the time that pipe was put in place, to do the mass excavation to put that pipe 35 feet in the ground, you would not have been able to have a house on either side of the street. Because in the sandy soil we've got here, you would have had to slope that excavation back so gradually to avoid the excavation caving in, that it would have been sloped back beyond where the houses are at least halfway through the houses.
Yeah, at least. So
it was a major excavation.
So we won't hold this up, but this is the water that would go into the system that's presently going somewhere. Right now it's going that way to Cheney Run. The sanitary district talked about going to Lafayette. We're talking about going west.
And tell them about the collection pond, what it could end up
Well, that's what we can do.
Okay.
So that's kind of the visualization. We're not saying that's the end all. We're not the engineers here. We haven't done we've done enough. We've done some in depth. But so we take that big area, and I throw right now about a 7.5 inch rain is a 100-year event. Everyone says 100-year rain. So that's about 7.5 inches according to NOAA. You can go on the website again. You can plug it in. You pick where you're at, and it'll tell you what the 100-year storm event is. 7.5 inches, about 7.65, something like that. And 80%, so you say the area is developed, so 80% of that's hard space. Roofs, streets, sidewalks, parking areas, about 80% is hard surface. It doesn't get the chance to soak in. It's not grass. That may be high, maybe a little low, I don't know. It's a good starting point. So that's 16 million cubic feet of water in a 100-year rain. In that area, heading to the Cheney Run. Right now, today. It goes somewhere. Today it's going to the Cheney Run. And that's why we want to transfer it to Lafayette. So if we take this area we're talking about here, Strebel Arm, going out west, which looks like the sanitary district and the city own a lot of, we make a pond 3 foot deep, we can handle 20 million cubic feet. We can handle the whole storm. Take that pressure off Cheney Run. Maybe lower the flood zone, right?
Oh, it reduce that floodplain
Maybe.
drastically.
Maybe wipe it out. Maybe. We
Yep.
don't know. Then let's look at something better. Maybe we dig it 5 feet deep and we put extra storage for everything. That's why I want to do this before Ohio. Everything for anything south of 20 on Ohio. Maybe we could route this down here and tell them, hey, you can redevelop the Brown and the JMR area. You can redevelop it, and we're not going to ask for any stormwater ponds. We'll put it down here at Street Alarm. Give it to you for free. Maybe we can do it one step further. We take 68,000, make that pond 10 feet deep. We get 69,000 cubic feet of storage. You look it up. Go on the internet. Look up Google Toronto Stormwater Park. You can build a stormwater park. It's gorgeous, clean water, treating the stormwater. It's a lake. We get a 10 recreational lake.
Wonderful.
And we know what happened around the lake. Condos, development, beautiful area.
We're going to talk about this some more, but we wanted to throw it out there for you to think about. Really want to move on to
This might be a little bit overhead, but we know certain people watch the show, they are going to take notice, and maybe they'll say, well, maybe we need to take a second look at what we think about doing in Michigan City. Maybe we would see if this idea is viable.
Especially all the poor people that have been affected by the Cheney Run floodplain insurance.
Cheney Run.
What's FEMA?
All right, so we only got about 10 minutes left. That was the Ohio Street. What do you got anything on Ohio Street?
I just don't understand this. What Michigan City hopes to achieve. They're estimating 800,000, probably more like $1 million, to widen Ohio Street from 20 to 400 North. On the east side, it's fully developed. That area is fully developed residentially. On the west side, it was actively busy for a while with corporate entities, plants that are now empty. Why don't we put some emphasis on refilling those? I don't see the purpose. I think that our priorities, we need to take a look at those. Michigan City doesn't have enough industry. Very simply, we've got about 6 corporate facilities, industrial plants in Michigan's manufacturing. From the lakefront to 400 North. I drove that. We've got just counting the restaurant signs, 71 restaurants we have in Michigan City. Just along Franklin Street. That's not counting Highway 12, Highway 20. 71 restaurants.
I'm glad you got me over to this one, because I want to say one thing. Cleveland Avenue. We built it. It's 5 lanes. We've paved it
there's
3 or 4
nothing there.
times. There's nothing there. There's nothing on Cleveland Avenue. And now we're going to do Ohio.
Same,
And that was it, right? It's how much was it? I thought it was $8 million.
What?
Ohio.
Well, maybe
They had to think.
I thought it was 800,000. Of course, that's not very.
No, I think it was $8
our
million.
portion of developing Phase 2 of Michigan Boulevard was 800,000.
Because I was going to ask. Well, yeah, that's right. I think it was $8 million. You tell me if I'm wrong. But I was like, where are they getting the money? We have a Southside TIF district that they're gonna bond.
More
Again.
bonds.
More bonds.
Bonds are loans that have to be paid back.
More bonds.
Based on future revenues, which, again, we've said it many times. What's going to happen to our future revenues when the new Pokagon tribe opens their casino, the new Pokagon casino at 31 on the west side of South Bend, in US 31?
30-year bond. Here we go again. At what interest rate? Interest rates are high. Stock market's at 23.6. It's insane. Quick, let me digress a little bit. Another clue I have about the automotive plant. One day I saw 10 Apple LiDAR vehicles going down 20. And I've counted 20 now. Apple, as a company, has tried to take a fight with Google and Google Earth and the Google Maps. So they're sending, you see the vehicles, they say Apple on, can't miss them. They have all the stuff on top. They're running around doing LiDAR of the highways. Now, why are there 20 of them on Highway 20? Very interesting.
I heard, I saw Governor Rauner of Illinois on television the other day, and his exact words was, without manufacturing, you do not have economic development. So why do we have 6 manufacturing facilities in town with 6 manufacturing facilities that pay a living wage, offer health care insurance, benefits, retirement,
Yeah.
versus 71 restaurants that offer no job security, minimum wage? Come on, let's stop missing the boat here. Not everybody can afford to work.
Maybe the boat's doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we only got like
Enough,
5 minutes
enough.
left. We want to do a recap of last shows. I'm just looking through my stuff here, Dwayne. I don't know if I have all of them. We did the Krieger neighborhood. We recapped the neighborhoods we were going to do. We talked about Eastport area crime increase and the state police that are here. I haven't seen them in weeks now. I did see them in LaPorte, the state police. I call them the twins, driving around LaPorte, going after drug lords and drug sales. Michigan City owns a lot of property. We talked about that. The train whistles. Oh, that's a good one. So the South Bend mayor is asking the Federal Rail Authority to sue the train companies for still not stopping their horns over on South Bend, even though they were told to. They're still, I think Norfolk Southern and somebody else, they're still not stopping their horns, and they were told to by the Federal Rail Administration. The mayor of South Bend, bless his heart, Pete, he is fighting for his people. He is sick and tired of that happening. I saw we talked about the rent-a-bike program, Mobike. It
Yep.
is exploding. It is expanding in South Bend.
At no cost to the city.
At no cost to the city. Fantastic.
We talked about, why does Michigan City own so much property? Let's get it on the tax rolls. Let's give it to people. Give it away.
Yeah, we need
Put
tax
it on the
revenue.
tax rolls.
Suburban Estates sewer rework, and we brought up what's happening in Winfield.
We had 2 programs on the sanitary district, the proposed stormwater fee. Thank God it went away.
Yeah, we did spend two shows on that. 2 shows on the stormwater, which took up a lot of our time. Let's
Talked
see what
about
else.
the stock market.
Oh, the
This
stock
guy here
market.
loves it.
I haven't heard a peep on it. Not a peep. It is skyrocketing. I'm sure you've looked at your investments and your 401ks and retirement funds. They are out of control. We hit 23.6, I think. No, 23.3, I think. I always said if we hit 23.5, it's going to 25,000, the Dow, and it's going to be a fun time. Our economy is going to be so good. And then we throw on top of that Toyota. Oh, fun times around here.
On our August 5th program, we talked about Social Security. To dispel the rumors, you hear so much talk.
Oh, that's a
I
good
walked
one.
us through that.
Social Security.
Take a look at that show.
So
I told you all about it.
You said Social Security is going to be out of money in so long. Well,
2035, it's going to be out. The surplus is going to be gone.
you take a resurgence in the stock market that and you said that in the show. If the investments change, it will increase that. It won't run out of money. It won't be at an even keel, way further out. So will the legislature kick the can down the road since there seems to be more money, or will they actually try to fix it?
Yeah, we talk about things that have happened. Are they good or bad? We talk the show after that. I said next week we're going to talk about the Triangle bus. It's been in use now a year. How's it doing? Is it a big success?
That's a good one. Triangle
it-
Bus. That's
yeah.
a grant program. When that money runs out,
Is it going to be renewed?
is it going to be renewed? Grant money is being cut. Future topic, we're going to have to talk about Obamacare and healthcare. We're going to have to talk about the tax cuts and who's going to get what. That's on the path. That's going forward. In that, we're going to have to talk about repatriation of funds, the trillions of dollars sitting offshore that's going to come back. So that's our little world gig. What else do you got?
We've talked about so many things. We talked about the double track several times. The other time I heard on the radio, Senator Todd Young from Indiana said that this is not a slam dunk yet, that this is on the table, on President Trump's table. It may be affected by cutbacks.
And there was an article in the LaPorte Herald-Argus, and maybe in Michigan City News Dispatch, where they're showing how heavy truck traffic needs to get through LaPorte better. Is that another curious clue to Toyota coming here? Lots of truck traffic. We talked about Highway 20. Talked about Highway 20.
How dangerous it's becoming. What we need to do to make it safer. I believe in Jersey barricades, concrete barricades. Separate the lanes by a concrete barrier. You will not have head-on collisions anymore.
Can you imagine if the Toyota plant comes with 4,000 employees and all that traffic on Highway 20? The best thing I've heard from people is maybe we need to lower the speed limit to 45. We saw the owners of Pac-Man Pizza got killed out on 20 going to New Carlisle. So again, it's not just 20. We brought in the numbers. Those were Indiana Department of Transportation auto daily vehicles per day. Those are not our numbers. Those are their numbers. Highway 20 has a serious problem. I agree. I didn't agree with you at the start with Jersey barricades. I agree with you now. Lower the speed limit, put Jersey barricades in.
End of head-on collisions.
No more head-on collisions.
Because a lot of them are head-on collisions. Probably close to 50%.
Yeah, well, the people that die are in head-on collisions. And that's, in today's world, that's not called for. We talked about autonomous vehicles a little bit. Whether you like them or not, get ready. There's going to come a day real soon. Nissan just announced their Nissan Rogue. Next year will have a premier package of which you can have semi-autonomous in your Nissan Rogue. See, I bleed oil. I read these things. That's what brought me to the Toyota plant, and now that, and I put two and two together, that is electric vehicles and it's Toyota Mazda. When the CEO's out there talking about it, there's things we need to discuss. A couple more minutes.
Yeah, check the directory that we've posted online. Then by looking at the directory, you don't have to watch show after show to find what we talked about that you're interested in. That's why we put the directory there.
Yeah, you can go to the
Go to
video,
the specific show,
and you can see the description. It shows the topics we talked about. I didn't do that for the last one. Real
Well, I've
quick,
got to
we got
update
like a
the directory.
minute left here. I glossed over the Winfield when they did the sewer line redid and how Suburban Estates potentially is paying for theirs. I can see this coming since we've been squawking about it, and so has News and Views. Are they going to make the Lafayette Barker area pay an extra fee for their stormwater because it's going to cost a lot of money to make sure that we protect Cheney Run, whichever way we go, north or west? So we got one more minute. Any topics, any teasers you want to give them for, now we're going to be off for 6 weeks.
we're going to be off 6 weeks, and our programs over the last 6 weeks will be rebroadcast, and after that they'll be done away with by ALCO, and you'll have to watch them on YouTube. But all of our programs will stay on YouTube.
So if you look at and you see us out in the streets,
That's what
we're
we're
on
doing.
super secret missions. We're not going to leave this one go. We're going to do some more due diligence and see if it works. This whole stormwater and Cheney Run, do some more research. We can get a lot of documentation. Anything else? Double track, we're not going to. That's a whole new animal now.
We need to do it right. We need to do it right because the mistakes that have been made need to be fixed by the city. They should be paid for by the city, not the residents. Not the residents of Village Green, not the residents of the people along the Lafayette Barker storm sewer.
Couple seconds. See you in 6 weeks.
You bet. Thanks for watching.